I was a suck up to my parents.
I don't think I like spoke to my parents for like 3 years.
What?
Well, not like in a meaningful way.
Did your dad beat you?
Welcome back to another episode of Trash Taste. I'm Connor, and once again joined by the boys, Joey and Garnt.
Do you have anything but purple t-shirts in your? I've just realized now. I thought you were wearing the Trash Taste shirt. And no, you've moved over to Twitch.
Well, it's because when I'm cycling, it's really easy to get like pretty sweaty. So I kind of want to pick the thinnest and like most t-shirt like shirts.
Connor's definitely happy of the fact that we just happened to pick purple as the Trash Taste color. You know? Thank God they're the same.
I didn't wear purple much before, but now I just like it. Yeah, so I picked the thinnest t-shirt.
Probably because you're surrounded by it all the time.
Yeah, maybe like subliminal messaging, like purple.
Yeah,
you like purple.
How you guys been? How you guys been doing?
Yeah, good.
All right.
This episode's coming out the week we recorded, so that's
so we decided to talk to make another topical episode.
Most recent, you'll see.
Yeah. And I guess like one of the most recent topical things that has happened, not just like in the previous like 2 weeks, but it seems to be keep happening now, is YouTubers ruining Japan. That is not us.
Hey, well, we started.
We started it.
Right?
No. Let's give our shout out to the OG Logan Paul for starting off the trend.
Only time you'll ever get a shout out.
Such a good job that Chris had to go on national TV and coin the iconic "Are you YouTuber?" to apologize and show that YouTubers are kind of normal sometimes.
He's a trendsetter.
Yeah. Well, where is Chris now when we need him most on national television to tell everyone that YouTubers aren't bad?
Yeah.
But yeah, so I mean that's been a big thing. Obviously, there's the famous one with Johnny Smiley, which we didn't talk about, and I didn't talk about at all. And I think most of us didn't because
we didn't want to give him more attention while he was still
it seemed like he kind of thrived off getting attention on Kick and causing all these like terrible kind of...
trust me, I would have made 10-second channel videos on him, but then I thought to myself, no, this is exactly what he wants. And I guess this is exactly what he wants.
He was fueling off it, and then now obviously he's been arrested. And
Twice.
Yeah, because Japan has this... Well, I mean, it's actually kind of terrifying. It's a really weird system. They can hold you for 28 days. Is it maybe correct? 28 or 24, I can't remember how many. And then before they have to charge you anything, obviously in most Western countries, the UK and US, I think it's 24 or 48 hours. I think it's 48 before they have to charge you with anything. So it's kind of terrifying that they can like, in Japan, they can hold you for 28 days. They can ruin your life because, if you don't show up to work, you can't talk to anyone. You can't contact anyone except your lawyer. And so you're in the system, and then they have this amazing thing that they can do, which I don't know how they're allowed to do this. This is insane to me. If you don't get charged in that period, they can just charge you with something else the moment that period is up, which is what they're doing right now.
Yeah.
Which listen, some people karma hits very well for, but sometimes you're like, man, I wish the system wasn't fucked though as well. But you're like, damn, but it is nice to see when the fucked system is kind of used in a kind of useful way to target someone who's just a scourge on the earth.
So if you don't know who Johnny Smiley is, if you are not in tune with, I guess, the streamer culture, good on you.
Well done. But you touch grass.
Yeah, he was a streamer that blew up on Kick a while ago.
Kick.
Was
Kick.
Kick.
Got banned from the other platforms, I believe.
Yeah, I believe he got banned from the other platforms, and he made a name for himself by basically going out to the streets of Japan and, to put it simply, harassing people. Just straight up. Just straight up, if you'd heard about one of those guys who are like just shouting Hiroshima and Nagasaki in the middle of a fucking train.
Oh no, I just remember I did make a video on that first incident.
You're the first guy you did.
Yes, the first one where he was on the train and he was blasting music and then he went up to a random just innocent salaryman in Japan and was just like, Hiroshima, Nagasaki, do you remember it? We'll do it again. I fucking tell you. And I'm like, what, do you have like government connections? Like what where is this confidence coming from?
The sad thing about that guy is everyone's like, well, I'm sure he's just a tourist. Like, no, he's been living here 8 years.
Yeah.
And then doesn't speak any Japanese, and then also I guess was like a 40-year-old man essentially. He was
no, that's a different one.
What?
Yeah, that's a different one. You're talking about the other kid.
The guy who was like blasting Skrillex. Why is there so many of them?
Yeah, that's so that was the first one I did. I didn't mention him by name, and I'm still not going to because he deserves no attention. But then I actually did do the first Johnny Somali incident where he talked about the Hiroshima Nagasaki shit.
Well, that was bad because like that immediately made news in Japan.
Yeah.
And
naturally.
Yeah, that one was interesting. That was where listen, Japanese people online, If you give them a reason to think that they can say what they want to say, holy shit, do they say some heinous shit? The comments I was seeing were fucking awful.
Yeah, if you thought 4chan was bad, you've never been on 2chan.
I've never seen such. I mean, I've seen a Western thing, but holy shit, the open racism was crazy on the Japanese side.
Yeah,
because they just felt justified in being racist in a way.
That's the one reason when I decided to move to Japan, I didn't make a Japanese channel.
Oh, okay. Well, I've heard
because
from
I was
other
like,
people.
because I used to be on 2chan when I was in high school because I was dumb as shit and I had too much time on my hands, and I saw, my God, it made the Newgrounds forums look like a playground. Like it was bad, and I was like, well, if I say anything bad, they're gonna take one look at this face and they go, stupid gaijin, probably the tamest thing they'll say, and then they'll just cancel me off the face of the earth over nothing probably. But this one was definitely. This whole Johnny Somali thing and all the other ones he was involved in.
He was inciting action and violence. There has been plenty of incidents where, he just get punched by random people in the streets.
Yeah, there's that, I think, that Australian dude who knocked out his friend and then hit.
Yeah,
good.
Which was great.
He's doing the Aussies
great
proud.
to see.
And this is coming straight out of just finishing Vinland Saga season 2, where you're like, I have no enemies, and you're like, wait though. Violence actually, I don't condone. It's that moment where you're like, so I don't condone violence, but it is kind of expected when you do stuff he probably watched Vinland Saga and was like, I have no enemies, and he was just like, bet.
I mean, it's easy to feel no ill will towards people until there's someone like that in front of you, where you're like, actually, I do hate some people.
Yeah.
I think some people suck.
Some people deserve a punch in the face,
Yeah.
And so obviously he kept pushing it. Was just doing them straight up crimes on camera.
Yep.
And then got arrested, and that was cool. And then recently there was so the thought process, I think, currently with Johnny Somali is I think they are going to charge him with something. Obviously, Japan has, I think, again, this is all like, I think I know this, but I'm not 100% sure. If you are a foreigner or a foreign national in Japan and you get charged with over 1 year of a crime, you are automatically deported.
Okay.
So if you get over a year sentence, they just, instead of serving it in Japan, because why would the fuck would they want to deal with you? They just send you out. If it's less than a year, I think you serve it in Japan.
Yeah, and I think he got arrested because he snuck into a construction site.
Trespassing was the first one, and the second one
and then he was harassing the workers.
Yeah, it was being a nuisance in a business, which is super vague.
Yeah.
And I feel like any of us could be like, if you go in anywhere with a camera, you could be arrested of that. It's kind of I will admit, on the Japanese side, they are grasping at straws to keep this man in jail.
Yeah.
And it's, I mean, for this scenario, you're like, oh, this is great. But also it's kind of scary at the same time that you're like, if you just piss off the wrong government person, you could just be in jail for whatever fucking reason.
Yeah, I mean, it's scary, but at the same time, it was kind of like, this is the bare definition of fuck around and find out.
Oh, 100%.
He was fucking around as much as he possibly could.
Yeah.
And he found out. And the thing that worries me is that this will set the wrong kind of expectations and precedent, because I saw it's rare that a Western kind of content creator makes news in the Japanese sphere. He's even
for a good reason.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, another streamer was in jail for 30 days, but wasn't charged with anything because they were trespassing. I don't know if they were streaming, but they were at the Fukushima nuclear exclusion zone.
Yes.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, I remember this.
Yes.
But that was... That didn't get nearly as much backlash as this did, which is kind of crazy in a weird way. Because
why do you think that is?
I just think it's the nuisance. He was such an easy person to hate.
The Japanese guy, or it was the Japanese public just being like, "Don't worry, the radiation will get him eventually."
No.
We don't have to do it. It's like we don't have to do it. So we don't have to do anything.
No, because they're doing so much.
Nature is taking its course.
Well, wait. Okay, that's an insult to everyone, Jerry.
Okay. If
I'm just joking.
Look. I know why. Okay, because trespassing, it's just doesn't really affect me. You see a clip of someone being loud on a train, and I think Japanese people are like, we found public enemy
visceral.
number one.
That is very visceral for Japanese people.
It goes against everything the Japanese are built on.
And then he starts shouting out Hiroshima and Nagasaki being a public nuisance. He is the complete antithesis of what Japan as a society accept, especially in public.
Absolutely, yeah.
yeah, it'll be interesting to see how it all plays out.
Yeah, because we had like the other YouTuber, I don't know if you saw this, about a guy who went around Japan and he was like, the YouTube video, I believe, was like, how I traveled around Japan for free.
Yep.
Yeah,
that was the most
one?
recent one. Yeah.
But, okay, first of all, though, this guy's YouTube channel, I don't want to name it, but he has this one thumbnail where it's like, I survived the poorest place on earth. And it's just like a white dude surrounded by like 20 black kids, and it's like, what is this? You are a human plague. You are insufferable. You are so fucking useless. You provide less to humanity than the barnacles on shipping boats. You are such a useless person.
That's one of those thumbnails I just wish you were joking about. You know,
it's just
like, it's so fucked up that like it's insane you didn't make that up. You know,
the zero level of awareness as a human being to upload that and be like, I'm okay with this, blows my mind. But yeah, so he did. It
was like 11 days, I think, or something in the video. Or like a week.
He did what we did with our video, which is traveling from like the most southern point of Japan to the most northern point of Japan.
He definitely faked 90% of it because he sneaks getting on the bullet train. And if you've ever been on a bullet train,
you can't do that.
There's absolutely no shot he's pulling that off. There's you might be able to maybe get through the gate, but it would be so tough.
Like it's not the New York subway. You can't just like jump the gate willy-nilly.
Fuck no.
It is like, there are at least like in most like major train stations where you can get the Shinkansen, there's at least like 2 or 3 dudes who are there making sure you get on.
There's one train that you don't want to even attempt fucking around with and trying to pull that shit on. That one, you will 100% get caught.
It's like trying to sneak on a plane, you know? It's like, it doesn't happen.
It's very, very like tough. So I believe because even in the video, he just happens to spawn on the train.
Yeah.
And it obviously clearly fake. But one thing he did do is that I think the thing that pissed me off most about this video is that he was just begging Japanese people for money.
Yeah.
When he was already like making money from this video.
Yeah.
And you know, people it just sucks to know that a lot of people here really push themselves and work horrible working hours for really bad pay. And then some fucking asshole comes along, asks them for like $20,
and I've
gets
definitely,
it, and then just makes $1,000 off it anyway.
Yeah, and I think he definitely knew that is like a very like Japanese thing to do, which is like obviously try and help others in need, especially a foreigner in somewhere like Tokyo, right? Where like there are probably a lot of foreigners who come to like these big cities, don't know how to get around, and you know, maybe ask, you know, for like directions, and sometimes maybe even ask for like some change or whatever, right? So like, and the whole idea of like, you know, Japanese people like helping out the greater community or helping out, you know, others, being a good Samaritan is very like ingrained in a lot of Japanese people's minds.
I think most people will help you out if they hear you have no money here.
And so taking advantage of that to make a video which you are going to make money off of anyway, also aiding this person in doing illegal shit, is just the most scummy fucking thing you can do.
Yeah, and that obviously made news in Japan as well. It was pretty popular. It's just frustrating because it's like, okay, a lot of goodwill that has been built up from just humans in general. It's like, oh, let's just squander it.
We're out here fighting the fucking good fight, making sure foreigners get a good name for themselves here, and then just a couple of
we go through so much red tape, like fighting tooth and nail, fighting for our lives just to get permission filming in a place.
All it takes is one person to bring it all down.
Because like, I mean, obviously there's like, I think the thing that pissed me off, right, is not just like, okay, his like Africa video, of course it was like what you would call a dick move, right? But then there's like with the Japan video, he's just straight up breaking laws.
Yeah.
Right? It's just
I think at one point in the video he gets on the bus and doesn't.
He gets on the bus and just refuses to pay, and then just gets like escorted to the police station or something like that.
Yeah, I think he thought they were going to drop it because it was 80 yen in the video. Yeah. He had begged someone for 600 yen or something, and the fare was 680 yen. So it's about like a 50 cent, 40 cent difference.
Yeah.
And I think in the video he thought he was just going to drop it.
Yeah.
But in Japan, it's not how it works.
You can't barter.
And worst, maybe the best case scenario for you, the bus driver might feel so sorry for you as like a pathetic human cockroach that you are, and he'd give you the 80 yen to pay.
Yeah.
But then it's like, even then it's like none of these scenarios make you like a human being that is nice or has any productive tendencies at all. I just think you're a piece of shit.
Yeah, there isn't a single person who looked at that and was like, oh, you know, it's so nice for the bus driver to like, you know, spare him that 80 cents change. You know, he's probably living a hard life. No. In Japan, it's probably like, can't cough it up, fuck you.
Yeah, pretty much.
You're not getting off. That's just, you follow by the rules in this country. And if you don't follow by the rules, then you're fucked.
Yeah.
Goddamn.
And yeah, like you say, it pisses me off when you see someone or you see like content creators kind of like taking advantage of the goodwill of just like how non-confrontational Japanese people are, right? Because it's like sometimes you see this in other countries and you're like, oh, there is no way, there is no shot some of this content would be gotten away with if you filmed this in America or something.
That's why I don't feel like if I ever saw a video like this in the UK, I'd be like, I'm not worried. If he pulled that shit on someone, I'm sure someone he'd fuck around and find out.
Yeah, exactly, right?
Which is like why I think a lot of people are like, I don't care if he does this anywhere else. And it's like here, it's like, for fuck's sake, like don't. What are you doing? These people are too nice to you. You're a human plague.
Yeah, exactly. And you know, it's we talk from experience when we've gone through enough red tape and red hoops, not you, Joe, but even to get like visas to work here and trying to instill something new, like a new idea to like, especially like older Japanese people. And it's so annoying when I see the coverage that these kinds of like content creators get, where there is so many people out there that are trying to do things the right way, that have been trying to do things the right way. I mean, I can't imagine anyone who's more pissed about this than Chris is, you know, considering how much he's worked to change the perspective of YouTubers and content creators in Japan.
And that's the shitty thing, right? Is that like negative press is always going to just have a wider attraction, you know, no matter where the country or the culture is. And it's definitely the case here because, you know, people like Chris and people like, you know, us can do the best things for the country and, you know, try and put a positive impact on how Japanese people, especially the older generation, not only just view content creators like YouTubers and Twitch streamers, but also just like foreigners living here trying to make an honest living in general. All for, you know what, a pat on the back, you know, maybe less shit talking behind the scenes. Meanwhile, you do one fucking bad thing and you get your face plastered on the front page of NHK. You know,
do you think do you think we're gonna continue seeing more of these kinds of people?
Oh God, I hope not. But
I think so. Sadly,
I think it's going to happen because I think these two examples especially have just shown.
There have been multiple examples. Yeah, like we've talked about.
Yeah,
but,
you get instant views if you do this shit in Japan.
Yeah.
If you did this shit in Florida, you'd be the least insane person in Florida. So like it just doesn't. You don't get anything out of it. So people come to Japan to do this.
The scary thing is, I think what might happen. I really hope this doesn't happen. Is not only are there going to be more people who are doing this in Japan, but there are going to be more people who are just doing this in Asia in general.
Yeah,
you know, because I think like it's already, you know, a kind of an idea, as you said, like, you know, if you did that in places like the UK or America, no one would bat an eye.
No one fucking gives a shit.
No one gives a shit. But if you do it in a country like Asia, where like the way that the culture operates is different and it's, you know, fucking something else for people to see of like, oh, you know, how would you be able to do it in Korea or how would you be able to do it in like Thailand, you know?
I think the concern has been that they might try and pass some laws around it. But I don't know. Japan's very weird about passing laws. They either do it really fast, stealthily, or they make a big public thing. It takes
10 years.
10 years, we might do it. We're thinking about it. Hey guys, what do you think? Like, and sometimes it just doesn't happen. I don't know what they could change. Because if they could do a law that was like only foreigners are not allowed to do it, they'd do it. I think they would. But I think because YouTube is really well built up in Japan. I think Japanese YouTubers have been very, very mainstream for a very long time, and have been making YouTube seem like a much more kind of. I think YouTube is almost
viable platform.
Yeah, and I think in some senses, like Japan has really adopted YouTube culture really well.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
In its own sense. So I don't think they would be very, very hastily rushing through something half baked. I think if they were to do something, they'd figure it out. Because I think right now, the way that filming in public works in Japan is that you can film in public if it's without needing to blur anyone or do anything like that if it's not for commercial purposes. But obviously if it is, it's a lot more complicated and you have to get permission and stuff like that. It's kind of tough. It's a very really weird spot right now.
Yeah, and like I don't know. I think there should be at least a line drawn in the sand by the actual platforms.
That's probably
if you break a law and you film it, surely that is like
I mean there's a platform now that has just invited all that in, so it's kind of hard. I think you'd think the platforms would do better. I'm surprised YouTube they only just took down his video. I'm surprised they didn't do.
Yeah. Why is it that like people get a pass when it's filmed, but they don't get a pass when it's not filmed? Like, how does that make sense?
It's so bizarre with YouTube and how they enforce their rules, because like sometimes they'll be so strict on someone, and they'll clamp down, and other people they get like a slap on the wrist, obviously with the whole doxing situation of recent.
Oh yeah.
That was like one where it was like, okay, YouTube, this is a really weird stance to take, and also took forever. It's really odd how these platforms really are very slow to the ball sometimes.
Well, they just need to stop playing favoritism, right? Which is impossible task to ask for.
It's like I think obviously I think they are doing something kind of right, because I've seen what happens when you go the kind of like opposite direction, and when there are clear biases with a platform like Twitch, where you try to please a certain amount of creators and you piss off everyone in the process, you know, because
I think because sometimes on Twitch and other, I guess Twitch more so, because Twitch is a bit more personal and there's less big creators. Because YouTube has so many creators.
YouTube has so many creators
that are huge. Yeah. Right? And there are a lot of creators who bring in, there are, I think, like tens of thousands of creators who bring in over $1 million of revenue a year, which are a lot of people that bring in a substantial amount of money, right? And none of these people you want to take away all their ads from, because that's a lot of money that YouTube loses, that YouTube needs, because holy shit does YouTube cost a lot of money to run. But on Twitch, like I've noticed that like you definitely, if you're a creator that is bigger and you have a very good track record, you definitely get the benefit of the doubt with certain things, or they'll be like, okay, just be careful next time. Because you have that track record and you are a bit more favorable. But obviously, it's such a fine thing to do that, because if you give too much leeway, then a lot of the audience from other audiences that might see this might be like, what the fuck? Connor got his cock out. Why isn't he banned? That's fucked up. I think there's a case that people were really calling for a ban recently where a streamer was driving while texting. And they were kind of like they had a very good rap. And it took a little while for them to get the ban, but I think everyone unanimously was like, they should get a ban for this. That's just dangerous. And I think if that didn't happen, and I think it only happened because of the sheer amount of like people being like, you have to give this person a ban. There's a horrible precedent.
Yeah, it's the community pressure, right?
But I think if the pressure wasn't there, I don't think it would have happened, because it took like 2 or 3 days for the ban to come through, if I recall correctly.
Well, I mean, there's a lot of instances of like a creator, YouTube, Twitch, or whatever, doing something that is very questionable. Sometimes just straight up,
there's also the inverse as well.
Caught red-handed, and it's not until it gets enough attention from the community, whether that be on like Twitter or just YouTube in general, for YouTube to finally be like, oh, they did a bad thing. Oh, okay, we'll do what you guys say. Thanks for letting us know.
It really depends. I don't really fully understand how it works, but I've just noticed that sometimes you get a little goodwill here and there.
Well,
but it's just how it works, right?
Well, it reminds me of like that one TikToker a while ago. He was like British, I believe, who just filmed himself breaking and entering into like people's houses, and stealing dogs, and just like literally committing crimes to the point where he got arrested, and like
he was in court, and the judge asked him if he was going to do it again. He was like, yeah, and he did.
Yeah, and like the problem is like,
oh my God.
The problem is somehow someone like this who is clearly like not even like being a dick, but just like breaking laws. This is a new level now. This is like someone is breaking the laws of the country you're in, and they can get away with it just because
TikTok looked at it and went like, yeah, but do you see how many fucking views this gets though?
That one, these kids in America were filming themselves doing hit and runs.
What?
And they killed a police officer because they hit him on a bicycle.
Oh, I heard about this.
They were filming it, and then when they got arrested, they were like, "Nah, it's not that serious, though, right?"
Oh yeah. I think I saw this. Yeah,
and like what? And dude, I mean, like watching it, I was like, dude, sometimes I was like, man, these old people, when they talk about kids having it good these days, I was like, man, maybe they're right. Maybe they don't get punished enough.
Oh my God.
I think some kids go like their whole life in school thinking they just can't be punished. Because like clearly that's what must have happened.
That's some fatherless behavior, bro.
How the fuck did like these kids commit straight up crimes and think that like they'll just get a slap on the wrist.
Parents, please beat your kids.
Yo, we
need more parents.
TikTok, you know?
We need more parents to beat their children.
Just
gonna say it.
You need to have as a kid, you need to have that innate fear of the moment when you do something wrong, that absolute like cold sweat passes through your body, and you know when your parents are about to murder you.
Yeah.
And I would do that shit over like dropping a bowl.
Yeah.
So like, we need to bring this back. I don't know if we stop doing it. I need to be straight up scared of doing anything wrong again.
Yeah. That's why I'm so well behaved. Because every time I think about doing something bad, I can feel the glare of my father about to murder me.
Yeah,
and that's just like the environment I grew up in, and like that kind of discipline. I feel just parents. Look, I'm not going to teach parents how to parent.
I just feel like such a boomer saying this. Like I feel like a boomer, but I feel like clearly.
But I also feel like I'm right.
People must not be getting disciplined. How does this happen?
Okay, just say
help me out,
none of us are parents here.
I'm about to fucking parent someone.
Yeah, none of us are parents here.
None of us are parents, but you know how we're going to be as parents. So future children, watch your ass.
My kid does not get to fuck around like that.
Oh, no.
No,
I find out he does anything in school, his life is ruined.
Oh, absolutely.
I'm killing him.
I brought him into this world. I can easily take him out.
I'm taking him out of this world. What do you mean? You got a C and you weren't well behaved?
Look, I think the big thing is that children just need discipline.
Yeah.
And, that doesn't necessarily mean we whip out the fucking belt or whatever. That's all back in the fucking 1960s.
Double
I can look, we get the belt and the slipper at the same time. No.
We got to bring it back. We got to overcorrect.
throw in the back scratcher in there every now and then, dude. Just choose your weapon.
That's not what we're saying. But we are saying that some kids just need to learn that there are consequences to actions.
I don't know. That's what I'm saying.
we need the like Malcolm in the Middle when they misbehaved so much they had to go to the military. We should do that. We should do that. I would have been very well behaved.
Yeah, I mean, like
Navy, Army, Air Force, take your pick, son.
Oh god,
you're going to one of them.
Do you think? Okay, this can be a weird question. Do you think kids need fear?
Yeah, 100%.
Oh, okay. Then let me ask, what is the difference between fear and respect? Because that's a very fine line. That's a very fine line, because you can like overshoot and the kid will just fear you and respect you, but that fear will like overshadow the respect. And then there's the fear that they will lose your respect, and then that's kind of like that's what I'm aiming for. I want to instill into my kids the fear that they're gonna disappoint me. Right. Not so much that they're gonna fear that I'm gonna.
Considering, because I think that like if you could raise the kid the exact same way, and I think sometimes you could just get a little fucking satanic little shit who's just no matter what you would have done.
Yeah.
I think he would have just been absolute human garbage.
He came out evil.
I think it just happens.
Yeah.
I mean, there's like. I mean, I think I don't know. There's got to be some people who are just born to be absolute like
absolutely
evil.
Yeah, you can.
You have to. Someone has to.
I believe that for sure. Yeah.
Right. Am I crazy? Yeah. I feel like there's you could like I feel like there's got to be a chance of that happening. I don't know.
Yeah. Okay. Well, then here's a question for you, Garnt. Like you are in that position where you are very much like that with like your dad. For example,
Garnt could fix the evil kid.
Yeah.
Garnt could.
Yeah.
I'm like, you have no enemies. Trust. You have no enemies.
I think I'd get impatient. I think whereas Garnt would play the long game.
Long game?
He'd play the long game.
Well, what is the long game?
The kid would be a little shit, and Garnt's like, no, he'll come around. 5 years later, he comes around, and it's like, oh wow, he knew.
Like, how did you do it? It's like I just waited.
Okay, you must have had that moment, right?
Yeah.
Tell me that you've had this moment where your parents have told you you'll appreciate this when you're older.
Oh, every day of my life.
And then there is that one thing that you're like, fuck. Actually,
good chunk. Good chunk.
Actually, thank you, mom and dad, for forcing me to learn Thai, because I did appreciate that when I was older.
Dude, for me, every day since I moved out. Legit. Every day since I moved out, it could be small, tiny little things, and I'm just like, now I get it.
Yeah.
This is the pain of paying taxes. I get it now. This is what cleaning your room is like, and your parents not being there to tell you to do it. You just need to do it because no one else is going to do it. You know, just small little things. And it's like, yeah, totally. When I was a kid and I was living with my parents and my parents were doing everything for me, it's like, I didn't fucking understand it. Of course I didn't, because I've never been thrown into that position. But now that I am, and now that I'm a fully functioning adult, I can understand like, oh, okay, my parents were right. What a shocker. And I think it's because of that my respect grew for them even more so than it was already.
Yeah,
you know?
but like the tough thing as a parent, I feel like, is that you just have those fucking years when they're like between the ages of, I'd say, 14 and 19, where they're like, fuck you, I know the best, I know everything, because I know that's going to happen, because I thought that. Until I realized in my fucking mid-20s that I'm like, fuck, I was a fucking dipshit asshole, and I was a dumbass. I didn't know anything.
I think you just gotta instill the values that you want them to get and not push too much. Because also as a teenager, you gotta have that space, but you also can't let them go crazy and do hit and run on TikTok.
I didn't have that period when I was in high school. I was a suck up to my parents. I was like, if a parent's like, if there's teachers' pets, I was the parents' pet. Like I was like, everything I did, I was like, I don't want to disappoint my mom.
I don't think I like spoke to my parents for like 3 years.
What?
Well, not like in a meaningful way.
Really?
I think I was just like, nah.
I don't know how my parents did it, but like they just gave me that environment where I was like, oh yeah, I can just talk about anything with my parents.
Well, my parents did. I think I was just a little shit. I think I just didn't want to. And I think that I just needed to figure that out myself.
Did your dad beat you?
That's such a good out of context quote. This is like the armchair psychologist.
I just need to know.
You're like, I like the color orange. Did your dad beat you?
Yeah. Real question.
The only thing that my dad did do is that occasionally, if we were up too late, he would come in with the slipper and hit us on the butt with it.
Oh, that's
nothing.
That's child's play.
What do you mean? What did you get? Fucking WrestleMania?
Oh, dude, I got full fist.
What? No,
yeah, man.
That's too much. That's too much.
But like, my dad was really okay. My dad was really. I'm not saying my dad was violent. Okay.
What the fuck? Full fist?
Yeah, but like he I don't know. He was a fucking like Shaolin monk with this shit. Because like he would like throw the fist like either like on the shoulder or just like you know. Yeah, just like one of those, right? But he did it in a way where it didn't hurt. It was just a lot of force.
Right.
You know what I mean? So like when you punch him on the shoulder, like being like stopping a little shit like that, he would punch it in a way where it wouldn't like leave like a mark or anything, or like it wouldn't like hurt immediately, but it would push.
That's so bad.
But it would push me back, and that force is what scared me. Okay. For the record, I know my dad watches Trash Taste. Dad, I realize you didn't beat me up as a child. Okay? I know there wasn't any like child endangerment shit happening, but from just like that little thing of like realizing that my dad is like a literal force to be reckoned with.
Yeah.
Right? Is what instilled that fear in me of respect. And I think that's what kind of disciplined me. Knowing that like I don't want to see my dad be like that to me, because that clearly upsets him, and I don't want to see my parents upset. Yeah, you know. So like he kind of did it in a way which I think it worked for me, obviously, because I have a lot of respect for my parents, obviously. But you know, whenever I got into any bad things, then like I would have that fear.
You never want to fall into that fallacy of like it works for me, because sometimes people would turn out like very well-rounded individuals,
of course,
in spite of some of the things that happened in their childhood. And I would say that a lot of the times, you know, this is something that a lot of people figure out, is that a lot of the times you can hold on to scars for things that you don't even know you hold on to scars for until you like grow way older and maybe like talk to a therapist or something, and you're like, wait.
Yeah, I would be perpetually scared about that.
Yeah. And you're like, wait. I thought I was a balanced individual until I started talking to people, and I'm like, wait, did I turn into this person in spite of what happened or because of what happened, you know? Right. So, you know, you never want to fall into that fallacy.
No, of course.
And that's kind of like that's the hard thing of what you have to try and figure out as you grow older, because what you want to do, or at least my life philosophy is, you know, as a kid, you're like, my parents are the best. My parents are superhuman. They're perfect. And then you realize as you grow older that, hey, they were just trying to be the best person they can be and learn from their parents. And when you realize that you're going to be that same person, you're going to try and take the good thing from your parents and try to learn from the mistakes that made as well. That's kind of like the life cycle of what I think is being a good parent and being a good child. Because I think the worst thing you can do is just learn nothing from your parents and don't try to improve on them, or something I think is equally bad is that when I've seen so many people where their parents have done some kind of fuck up or done something bad that's fucked them up, and then they kind of like pivot and go 360 degrees the opposite direction and makes the completely opposite
360
mistake.
degrees would be the same direction.
Sorry, 180 degrees. 180 degrees in the opposite direction.
He spins around, starts moonwalking.
Spins around. Yeah, because like for me, I remember the fear of disappointment was always greater for me as a person than the fear of like any kind of like, oh, I could get like, a slap or something, or like,
Oh yeah.
Yeah. To me, the threat of like, let's say like violence, not that really ever happened in my household, but like I was always more scared of disappointing my parents' expectations of me than I ever was. Like I think at some points I'd be like, I would prefer the instant gratification of just being like, just come on, mom, just give me a slap on the wrist, please.
Yeah,
that's the instant gratification.
Because like that's when I knew, for example, that like my parents were like actually like proper mad at me. Is the moment when they wouldn't resort to violence, when they would have what I like to call the silent disappointment. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like where like the quieter and more like calmer tone that they speak to me in signify to me immediately, oh, I'm actually in like deep shit right now.
Yeah.
Like they're so angry that they can't even get angry at me.
Yeah.
My dad had this thing that we called the murder stare.
Oh yeah,
because there's three of us, three brothers. So we all had like we all knew, and if he gave you the stare, you were done. You were done.
It was like Empress Huck. You just like
It was like, oh, you're like, oh no, you knew it was gonna. My dad hated that. He hated that we called it that, but it felt like you were about to be murdered. It felt like that.
My dad used to threaten me with fucking. It's so dumb. I don't know if I've talked about this on the podcast. When me and my sister were really young, I'm talking like less than 5 years old.
Yeah.
Whenever, because it only works.
I don't think I remember anything below the age of 5.
Okay, this is the one thing I remember because he used to say it all the time. Whenever we would like say something that like he didn't agree with, or like we would ask too much from him, my dad would say this one thing, which is, "Don't make me take you to the bridge."
What?
Wait.
And that's all he had to say for us to be like, no, not the bridge. Because I don't know how it came up with it, but like in our dumb, less than 5-year-old childhood brains, we had envisioned this like really scary bridge where like if you cross it, you die or something. Or like if you cross it, something bad happens.
The most Joey dad thing I've ever heard.
And my dad, I think, overheard me and my sister talking about this. We maybe saw it in like a storybook or something. I don't know what it was. Maybe the 3 Billy Goats Groff or some shit, you know. But like there was this like bridge we were like scared in, and I guess my dad overheard and he was like, perfect ammo. So then every time we were like, Dad, can you buy us like blah blah blah? Can you take us blah blah blah? He was just like, don't make me take you to the bridge.
Go to the fucking bridge.
Yeah, and then we were like, I'm sorry, don't take us to the bridge. I swear, please.
Anything but the bridge.
Please spare us, not the bridge.
Your dad's very opportunistic man.
Oh, my dad was smart as fuck with that. I'm using that on my kid.
That's genius. That's genius.
The bridge. That's genius because it's such an open threat that doesn't resolve anything because or doesn't resort to anything because there is no bridge. But just saying you're gonna go to that bridge is the threat you need. Yeah, it's terrifying.
Fucking hell.
I still remember. Some people call it trauma. I call it good parenting.
Dad's like, I'm gonna kill you. I'm gonna punch you.
I'm gonna take you to the bridge. I'll do all of it.
Jesus.
Don't be a little shit.
Oh my God. Oh my Lord.
And look who it turned into. I became the man that my dad wished for.
I think the one thing that my parents, I really am glad they did, is that they just showed an interest in most things I was doing, even if they didn't give a fuck, really. Like, but they would always show interest. And I think that's why maybe then I was scared to disappoint them because I knew they were genuinely interested. And so then if I did do bad in school, I'd go, I'm telling them like, I didn't do good in this. I'm sorry. And then they'd be like, well, no food. Sorry. No, I'm kidding.
No food.
No, I think, yeah, just, I'm really grateful they showed
honey,
interest.
get the ball and chain.
And it's hard because like showing interest in, I think if a kid came to me and was like, man, my macaroni art was great, I'd be like, okay, I can do better.
Yeah, I don't even know what the Okay, I'm trying to remember why I was like so scared of like disappointing my parents, because it wasn't like they actually openly showed any disappointment. Like if I got a bad grade in school,
you just knew that they weren't proud or something.
Okay, like here's the thing, right? I think this is like one of the things I'm just like realizing now as a core memory. They're like, we don't care. They told me we don't care what grade you get as long as you knew that you tried the hardest. So every time I came in with a bad grade,
that wouldn't work on every kid.
I don't know why. I don't know why that worked for me though.
That is an Asian parent method if I've ever heard it. Yeah. My mom used to say the exact same thing.
That's the long con, dude. Huh? That's the long con.
It's the long con. So every time I got a bad grade in school, they would just ask me, did you try as hard as you could have? And I would just like fucking panic, and I'm just like, I knew when I didn't try, then I was disappointed in myself. And I think what they like five head taught me was that they weren't the ones that were disappointed in me. I was the one that was disappointed in myself for not achieving my full potential. Yep. And I'm just like, that's fucking five head.
It's that question of like, we're not mad, but are you satisfied?
Yeah.
Didn't think so.
And that's what started the grind set, baby.
That's how you get into the grind set.
Yeah. So like my parents did a lot of things right, I think. They, some things I hope to learn from them, and some things I, would leave in their generation.
See, I think that method as well, though, of like that making you realize whether you're satisfied with it or whether you're disappointed in the results that you made is not only a really good thing to like teach or instill into kids while they're still in school, but also like it's just great for like building up this like self-motivation mindset as an adult.
Yeah.
Because like you wake up in the morning and you're just constantly on that idea. Like, it's a double-edged sword, right? Like you'll obviously always have that like hunger to like strive for better, but there's also that double-edged sword of you're never going to be satisfied with where you currently are in life, right? So it's difficult like teetering on like whether that's a good thing or a bad thing. For some people, that's a really good thing. Like, for like people like us, for instance, who we obviously without us being motivated to do it, work isn't going to be done, money isn't going to be made.
Yeah.
But, for someone who's working in like an office job, that's not really a mindset that works.
This episode is sponsored by Bokksu. Bokksu delivers the experience of tasting authentic Japanese snacks, candies, and teas sourced directly from centuries-old small family businesses right to your door. Their mission is to empower Japan's traditional snack makers by sharing their authentic foods and stories with the world.
This month, we have the first snack box you will actually receive, which is the Seasons of Japan snack box. This is kind of like a best of the Bokksu snacks, if you will.
Following the season in Japan, every single month, you will receive a themed box.
What do you got here, Connor?
I have the Soka Senbei Ume Zarame.
This is a senbei rice cracker that boasts uniquely irresistible tart and sweet flavor combination of ume, Japanese plum, and zarame, which is like a coarse granulated sugar. So this is kind of like a sweet and sour senbei.
Oh my God.
I actually like these a lot. I used to eat these when I was little.
That's good.
I'm going to pick out one of my favorites, which is, I have this every time, but it's the white strawberries. So what they do is they just take a strawberry and infuse it with chocolate, and it's in all of their Seasons of Japan Bokksus, and I have this every time this box gets sent to me.
Pop it in your mouth, Garnt.
It's so creamy and smooth. That's what I love about it.
And of course, Bokksu comes with its own tea pairing every single box. This one right here is the organic genmaicha, which is kind of like a roasted green tea. Really, really good with a lot of sweet things, like all of the sweet things you will find in your Bokksu.
So if you want to be as sweet as us guys, just click that link in the description to get your own Bokksu today and use code TRASH for $15 off your first Bokksu order.
Back to the episode.
This is going to be a weird question, but at which points in your lives did you realize your parents were human beings?
What do you mean by that?
Okay, I was going to throw it out to see if anyone got the vibe.
That's a very open-ended question.
I know what you're saying, because you see your parents as like infallible growing up.
Oh, like, I remember. I thought like they were superhumans, and then
you feel like they know everything.
Yeah,
they brought you into this world. They can
take you out of this world.
They provide. They do everything. So like to you, they are like gods almost, right?
Yeah,
because they are like they control everything you do.
Yeah,
and then you get to like 18, and then maybe your parents say something that isn't right, and then you can just Google it and you find out it's wrong, and you're like, huh.
For me, it was probably when I realized that although my parents really heavily pressured me to go to university, they didn't go to university themselves. That was probably the moment where I'm just like, oh, is that why you guys want me to go? Because like you guys didn't, or
right,
you know, and that's the moment when I realized I was like, oh, I'm doing something that my parents couldn't even do, and that made me realize like, oh shit, like my parents aren't perfect. You know, they look perfect, they act perfect around me, but they're just like everyone else.
Yeah.
So that's probably the moment for me. What about you?
Why did them not go to university make you realize that?
Because I thought they were just like perfect, like the way they, because the way that
perfect,
the way they led their life was just like, you know, all the right things happened. They they got to like all the necessary stops, and but that also that also like humbled me at the same time, being like, oh, I can be just as happy as my parents without necessarily going down that route.
Yeah,
and that kind of made me look at them as humans in kind of a different light.
Yeah,
you know,
I think there was a moment where like I kind of like drifted away from my parents for like during like the university.
This happens
years,
when you're like,
which
that generally happens when you're like late teens.
Yeah, like late teens, early adulthood.
You want to find yourself.
Yeah. You're trying to. I'm trying to find myself. You know, I was trying to find myself, and I remember having this conversation with my mom, like, like a bit after that period. Where, you know, me and my mom, like, I used to be like the biggest fucking mama's boy of all time. Of course I was. And then afterwards, I kind of like did the 180 and I'm just like, actually, I'm an individual. I don't need to talk to my mom at all. My mom, I've left that part of my life behind me. I remember having this conversation, and then I remember having a conversation with my mom, and then she just started talking about some of her like insecurities. And I just remembered like thinking, that's a human trait. that's not a mum trait.
Mom, you're this beacon of happiness. What are you talking about? Insecurities.
Mum's always happy. She's always
behind the motherboard. There is a beating heart.
And then it just like hit me like a ton of bricks. Like, oh, my mom is a human being with insecurities like me, and she's not perfect.
Feelings.
Yeah, and then that was like that started a path to me kind of like getting real close with my mom and my parents again. And you know, I'm like real happy that like me realizing my parents were just like human beings who were very much infallible and had insecurities like me. I was like, oh, I get along with them way better than I ever did as a kid, because it's like totally different now.
But some people, you know, some parents go through their entire lives never opening up that side of themselves to their children.
Exactly.
Right? And
exactly.
So like, I think you were put in a very rare position.
Yeah.
Where, or I don't know if it's rare. Would you say it's more common than not?
I think
for your parents to eventually do that with their kids?
I mean, it really depends. I don't think it happens as often as it should.
Yeah.
I don't think it's as widespread as it should be.
Definitely. Yeah. Because it's always a fine balance between seeing your parent as like a parent, you know, versus seeing them as just another person like yourself, who maybe one day we're going to be parents as well, and our kids are going to look at us the same ways. And I'm just wondering, you know, was there ever a point? I should probably ask this to my own parents. Was there ever a point where you were like scared I would as a kid suss out the facade, you know, be like, wait a minute, my parents are just people. They aren't superhumans. They aren't gods.
It's just, you know, you just load up that real life game of Among Us. You know, it's like someone's not right here. Someone's a little sus right now.
I think maybe when you're a parent, you just have to play that role for so long of being like this figure that is so reliable. Sometimes you just think that like you've been doing it for so long that you have to be that, right? Like you can't be this person whose emotions or shares.
Yeah.
But I think, you know, obviously I think a lot of kids appreciate it, especially when they're older, that you can talk to them about more personal things.
God, once this episode goes live, I'm just gonna expect
your dad's gonna punch you.
My dad's gonna kill me.
All right. Let's
email to Joey.
Yeah.
Son, I did not hit you I did not beat you as a child. I dominated you. Remember it. I won't go away.
All right, let's start some beef right now with our parents. All right.
What?
No, okay. I'm scared.
No. This is the real question.
Do you want me on death row?
Okay, this is the real question. We're in this together, guys. All right, here's the question.
Okay.
Do you think you're more like your dad or your mum?
Oh, fuck. I'm 100% more like my mum.
You're more like your mum?
Yeah, 100%.
How so?
I'm just way more like her. I'm more chatty.
Yeah.
I share a lot of traits with her. I don't look like my dad. I look like my mum. Maybe I look like the mailman.
Really? Because I think I'm more like my dad.
I think you're more like your dad.
Yeah.
As well. Do you know? Okay, are you the same way, Joey? Because I feel like when we were kids, we might have been more like our mums, or at least I was like way more like my mum, and my mum was like, "Yo, he's gonna grow up and be just like me."
Dude, I looked like my mom when I was little. I think I actually have a photo of like me when I was a child. Can you go get my phone? But like, I don't know if this is just like a Hafu thing, but like boys who are born Hafu, like they grow up looking Japanese as fuck. Right. And then one day the Western genes are just like, let me stop that for a second. Let me see. Let me show you. Because like, I think I have it on my phone. Anyway, keep talking while I find this.
Yeah, like as a kid, I always felt like I was going to grow up to be like my mom. And then as I grew older, I don't know when it happened. It was just such a subtle thing.
Yeah.
But then I just started turning more and more into my dad. And I had this moment where... it was like a month ago or something where I was just like, it was in when we were in England, and Sydney was like, "You walk like your dad," and I was like, "What do you mean I walk like my dad?" And she's like, "I don't know, just your posture." Just
that's when you know it's game over.
and that's when you realize, oh, it's game over. I've officially transformed perfectly into my dad.
Okay,
now.
This is me when I was 3.
Oh my god,
that's it.
You do look way more like your mum. In that photo.
I look Japanese as fuck, right?
Yeah.
What the heck?
This is the same
You're
person.
rocking the bowl cut.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's because I hated haircuts.
Oh, fair enough.
Yeah. But like, yeah, no, totally. Like, I think the moment when you start to, I think we talked about this in a previous episode, but like the moment when you start to just without even thinking, imitate the exact same things you've seen your dad do.
Do you make the same sounds as your dad?
Oh, 100%.
Like,
100%.
I'm trying to stop that.
100%.
Whenever I do anything that my parents do, I'm like, I know I did it. I'm like, okay, I gotta stop that.
Dude, the other day when we were having the Halloween party at our house, I physically stopped myself from saying, "Oh fuck, I'm shit faced." Like I had to physically stop myself from doing that because I'm like, that's something my dad would do.
It's very charming when your dad would do that.
Yeah, it is. It's charming when my dad does it. It's not charming when I do it.
It's funny.
So you reach the point where you're like, shit, I'm doing the things my parents do.
Yeah.
I should stop that. And then I've come to the point where I'm like, but it's just so natural. I'm fighting against my bloodline here. I just need to do it.
That is true. I'm gonna get to that point probably in like my late 30s where I'm just like, you know what? I probably won't even be drinking alcohol and I'll be like, oh fuck, I'm shit faced. Just tired.
You're waiting for that right moment to just like bring that out.
Exactly. Yeah. So, but like I'd say now I'm definitely more like my dad. You're more like your dad?
I'm more like my dad.
So you're the only one that's more like your mom.
I guess so.
I wonder why. What about your brothers? Like, are they more like one of the parents?
More like my dad.
All of them?
Yeah, I think so.
So
yeah.
everyone just...
My older brother, he's kind of half, I'd say.
Right.
He has very discernible traits from both.
Right.
But I think it's because my job's yapping. My job's talking. So my mum was the much more talkative one.
Right.
So I think my mum's always very eager to talk. And then my dad will be like, my dad talks too, but my dad's my dad, and he'll just be like, "Hey, dude."
My dad talks.
Good. Your dad does talk. My dad, my dad's from that generation as well, where he just can like fix anything and build anything.
Right.
Because right now he's just remodeling the whole house, and he knows how to do most of the stuff by himself. And I'm like, how?
That's OP
How
shit.
do you know this? What skill tree did this? How did you spec into this?
Yeah.
Like I feel like I'm such a useless man.
He's in the builder class for sure.
Yeah, like I've got my drill bits. I'm just like, what can I use them on? Huh? Oh, nothing in Japan. Okay. It's being bred out of us, guys.
Yeah.
Wake up. They're trying to get it out of us, man. They're not letting us use our tools.
It's not DIY anymore, man.
I want to DIY so bad.
Oh,
I just want to make a shitty table.
Is that how you know we're getting old?
I just want to, it's just a skill I want to get better at. Like I feel like it's like a RuneScape class that I've been putting off for too long, and I know
right there
I got to do it.
I recently found this like YouTube channel of this Japanese guy who creates like real life clay sculptures of Pokemon.
That's sick.
But like really like amazing quality. And he like films all of his like, process in doing it.
Yeah.
And the entire time I'm just like, fuck, I wish I could do that.
I just want to build a table. I just see how it feels.
I want to build something without an instruction manual.
Yeah.
You know, just one thing. IKEA doesn't count. Amazon doesn't count. I just want to build something with the raw materials and go, all right, let's see what. That just sounds like a fucking video idea.
I think it's because half the population that was destined to be amazing builders have now become coffee experts on TikTok.
How did that trend start?
Dude, have you seen all the comments are like, if coffee enthusiasts spent 1% of their brain power on advancing humanity, we'd be flying by now.
I think we'd actually have cured cancer if coffee enthusiasts have had spec into the medical field.
They'll create mini black holes to make the perfect espresso pool. So just activate your gravitron cannon to allow the espresso to pour evenly through the titanium filter. It is fucked how intricate these espresso things are. It's so fucked.
Goddamn.
Yeah, I saw the one of like the evolution of the different kind of like contraptions that they
built.
With
the fucking the thing that they use to like spread out the coffee.
Just spread out
and
the coffee.
And it's like a Rolex mechanism just to like spread it out perfectly.
Oh, like the little ones with the little hairs on it?
The ones with the hairs that just started out as like a little like pine cone that was like 3D printed, and then companies made like advancements to that. And they got to the point where they like had multiple gears just turning around so you get the perfect spread.
I love how a lot of the comments are always like, that one coffee friend who says that making coffee at home is cheaper. That's me. I'm becoming that friend.
Yeah.
I just like my machine. I just like grinding it. I don't like all this bullshit. With the moment we gotta like temp it down, we gotta start like fucking fluffing it around, putting in like another filter. I'm like, this is too much shit to clean.
Yeah.
I like my thing because it's like a Lego thing. I make the coffee. It's like John Wick loading his Garnt, except I'm loading up the milk frother.
Yeah.
It's like 3 parts and they all dishwash. And then when I'm done with my coffee, I just take them in the dishwasher. And I'm like, this is easy.
Yeah.
This is great.
I do the grinding and the tamping down, but like, I don't go anything beyond
grinding
that.
is great. Like actually, like the one thing I say that changed my coffee game and made coffee taste so much better is just grinding beans.
Yeah.
It's so easy to do, and it makes coffee taste so much better and fun.
Great way to wake up in the morning too.
Dude, the smell.
Yeah.
But I'm not going down this. Maybe I will. Maybe if I have a lot more free time.
Going down
5 years from now.
Like when you stop the YouTube grind and you're like, fuck, I have half an hour in the morning or an hour or however long it takes to make some of these coffees. Because I swear I watch some of these TikToks.
Once he stops the YouTube grind, he's going to start the coffee grind.
No, no. I gotta do something else.
I think some of these coffee makers could go on to like the end of One Piece by the time they finish making their espresso, man. Like, I don't know how many steps they put into that, but it is insane. But they seem happy.
Hey, look, if they're satisfied.
There are 2 types of coffee drinkers: people who just want the caffeine intake, and just some people
who want to discover a new dimension of coffee making.
Is there anyone who still drinks? I don't know.
Instant coffee?
Instant coffee?
Yeah, I know. I know. We're just we're rich. We don't drink.
That was the most roundabout way of saying we're privileged, right?
We don't.
We're privileged.
None of us drink instant coffee, guys.
Yeah, we're not.
Can we go back to instant coffee?
No,
I can't go back.
I can't go back.
It tastes horrible.
Yeah, it's bad.
I mean, it is because I think at least around where I live, there's a lot of like roasteries, like local ones that have really cheap beans that if you just buy a really shitty grinder and you wanted to do like a French press or filter it yourself, it's like as cheap as getting the giant instant coffee.
That's why I like asked, just because it seems like it's been cheaper and cheaper to get like good coffee, you know. Even very cheap coffee places have pretty decent coffee, at least in Europe, you know. At least,
dude, I bought like a massive bag of coffee beans the other day from Costco, which will probably set me back. Like if I drink 1 cup a day, it'll probably maybe like a month and a half, 2 months worth. It's like 1,500 yen. And it tastes really fucking good.
I think people just care a lot more about coffee now than they did 10 years ago, and we also are aware of how to make coffee taste better.
It's the TikToks.
First of all, the TikTok,
yeah. The TikToks, yes.
Well, okay, it's the TikTokers and the hipsters that have like, you know, we clown on hipsters a lot, but they've changed so much about what has become readily available. Like, do you remember, I don't know when this started to happen, but do you remember when
did hipsters start to become the trendsetters?
They've always been that's the point. They've always been the trendsetters, and then we've clowned on them, and then we're like, wait a minute, actually, this thing kind of right though.
Did you see that? Talking about hipsters, did you see that one TikTok of that guy who's an LA guy in California, in New York?
Yeah.
He's like, so like, what's the deal with New Yorkers, man? Like, I went to. If in California and LA, if I asked for a scooped bagel gluten-free, there's no problem. They're like, yeah, thank you. I asked for it in New York and he said, I'm not fucking doing that.
In New York, I just walked in and asked for a scooped gluten-free bagel. The guy just looks at me and goes, I'm not scooping your fucking bagel, bro. It's like, dude, that's how I want it. It's like, get the fuck out of here with that shit. I was like, all right.
Have you heard what a scooped bagel is?
No.
Oh my God, this pissed me off.
What the fuck is it?
A scooped bagel is where you get the bagel and you scoop out the bread.
So what, you just left with the outside of
the
it?
shell.
Why?
Exactly.
Wait,
why?
what? Do you fill in that scooped part?
Well, because obviously the bagel you'd normally put you'd kind of squeeze it like sandwich.
like piece of bread.
But the idea is that you can remove some of the carbs and calories and still get like the sensation of eating a bagel.
How about you just not eat a bagel?
Yeah, and I think a lot of the internet reacted very viscerally and were like, "What the fuck? I would kick you out." And
yeah,
people were like, "You're lucky you didn't get killed in New York."
Bang!
It is an insult to bread.
Yeah.
I feel like you shouldn't
You're
be
wasting
committed.
bread.
Don't be committed to the bread train if you're gonna ask them to throw away half of it.
Yeah. What do they do with that bread? They just
presumably
chuck it.
throw it away, or maybe
what the fuck?
Maybe compost it, or give it to someone, or feed it to animals.
Dude,
I don't know, something.
Bakers all over the world are fucking frothing at the mouth right now.
I feel like it's just a hate crime.
Yeah,
against bread makers.
Yeah,
that's so rude.
Just if you don't want to eat carbs, then stop fucking eating bagels.
Like throwing away the crust on a pizza.
I mean,
not looking at anyone in particular.
I mean, I don't have a horse in this race, guys.
Pizza guy,
scooped. Can I get my pizza scooped, please?
Can I get my pizza
can't imagine
crustless?
going to like a bagel place and being like, "Hey, remove all of the hard work."
Yeah.
Go fuck yourself.
Remove the thing that's in the name of your store.
But the guy seemed. I think it was the guy seemed so upset that the guy was very angry that he didn't want to do this, and I think that's what kind of made people like, well,
yeah, I don't
you're not
blame
entitled to this man to ruin his bread.
Yeah. I mean, like, I'm trying to think what other trends have like popped up recently that wasn't there when I was like there growing up. Like, I remember
everything.
Yeah, I remember anything on TikTok.
I felt like craft beer was a fad at first.
Craft beer just didn't exist when I was growing up.
It just didn't exist.
Yeah.
And then, like, I remember...
I think it was very hard to brew beer at home, but obviously the technology has gotten so much better to brew it at home.
Yeah.
Then obviously canning.
You thank the coffee makers for that.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, you can also like can beer now. That is something that is accessible and you can do that on a very small scale, whereas canning stuff before was like a very, very expensive thing and you did these giant machines to do. And so that's why like still in a lot of places when you do like craft beer, it's it's either cask or it's in bottles normally.
Yeah.
No, actually no, bottling is very expensive as well. What am I saying? There's a different way you would store it. I know basically, yeah, I'm getting off on one there.
Yeah, because like I'm trying to think about what is like it is basically the hipsters that started a lot of these trends that
people get passionate about something.
I certainly thought craft beer was a fad when it first started popping up, and then I don't know if something just changed my brain to be like, actually it tastes pretty good just to have a fucking Budweiser or a Asahi with everything.
People just get bored of having the same goddamn beer because like beer drinkers, for a long time it was kind of like you had like 3 options.
Yeah.
Whenever you went to your local place. So it's kind of nice having like a rotating selection of stuff, but also sad when you get a really nice craft beer and then it's gone. I'm like,
yeah, it's always just like takes time, right? And it's like who knows? 3 years from now, I might come up to someone and be like, "Wait, you get your bagels unscooped? What the fuck is wrong with you?"
You know what was? So I went to Twitchcon last week, and in Vegas, nowhere does draft beer. It's all bottled. And I was like, it was like barely anywhere. I think there's only one place I could find it that had draft beer, but nowhere else had draft beer. And I like beer a lot, so I'm always like, hey, what do you have on tap? Because I'd much rather have something that I maybe wouldn't drink from a draft than something from a bottle that I would drink. Because I'm like, I just want to. It normally tastes way better, but nowhere had it.
No, wait, it's called a faucet, actually.
Yeah, Americans just don't. That beer game is just so bad.
Yeah,
the beer game is awful.
So what did you drink?
What I drink? I normally just would get bottled beer.
Rebottled beer?
No, bottled beer.
They pour it out of the keg and then they just.
Is that a Californian thing?
Yeah. Can you scoop
We'll be drinking it in 5 years.
Scoop the beer out, please?
Can I get my beer scooped?
Can you shake the carbonation out, please?
Yeah,
I like my beer uncarbonated.
I mean, a lot of the
beer.
drinks are bad, so I was like, I'll just take a bottled beer of, I don't know, an IPA or Goose Island or something. They had that everywhere, so I had that.
Oh, but Goose Island. That's
it's okay. Yeah, it's better than a Budweiser.
What do you guys think of LaCroix or seltzer water?
I like it.
I hated it at first, and then the hipsters got me.
Fucking knew it.
Same thing with.
Well, it's like when I told you guys, I was like, guys, you should try this White Claw thing.
Yeah,
if you want to drink
same
alcohol.
thing with White Claw. I was like, what the hell is this shit? I don't want to drink it. End of our LA trip, I was obsessed.
Well, it's because you can just you can go to a party and if you have to drink or you feel obliged to drink, which you obviously shouldn't have to.
I've gotten to
that. If you do
that.
want to,
yeah. The progression
calories
for me was crazy with White Claw. Like it started with like, what the fuck is this? Like seltzer, alcohol seltzer. This is bullshit. Now I'm at that point where I go to a friend's party and I judge them on what flavors they have.
It's definitely going to take off.
But you only have the lemon. The fuck is wrong with you?
It's going to catch on here.
I'm surprised it hasn't already caught on here.
There's so many low calorie alcohol options here.
You need to get in on that train. That's $1 million
I'm
idea.
sad that he hasn't caught on in the UK yet. The UK is still in that phase of like clowning on White Claw because you can't even get it at like every supermarket. It's only at like some select supermarkets, and every time I've been caught drinking a White Claw in the UK,
I get beat up.
Everyone's like, "You changed." Wow.
I guess it's because we have such good cider and such good beer, and it's like, man, why would you want to drink that? But I get it.
It's perfect for a country like here, though. Like 100%. Because
Japan would love it.
Yeah. But because
they so many sparkling water drinks.
They already have like horoyoi and stuff like that, right? Like we're almost there.
Horoyoi is just
that's just juice.
That's just juice with a tiny bit of alcohol in it, just to make you feel.
That's Hasbro's my first alcohol.
Yeah. Well, it's called horoyoi, right? Which is like buzz.
Not even buzz. It's like I feel a bit warm.
Yeah, right. It's like okay, close enough.
My body temperature went up.
Oh yeah, so obviously I went to Vegas and I went to Twitchcon.
Yeah, how was that?
I heard a lot of talks.
What talks did you hear? Tell me the tales.
I just saw a bunch of articles of like what was happening, during that time.
What was happening?
Just a whole slew of things. Too many things, in fact.
What?
I don't understand if this is a dig or
what did you hear about?
I'm like clueless.
It's not a dig. I just saw a lot of like things that were picked up by articles.
You said that like
I
heard some tea happen, man. Give me the tea.
Dude, it's TwitchCon. Of course tea happened. I don't know the specifics though, but I don't know. Let's hear from the guy who actually went there. Was there?
I don't. I mean, I was at my booth the whole time, so I didn't hear anything.
Right.
So yeah, I had a booth, and it was kind of a disaster, really. Well, no. Full story. So I was going to do this video, this stream, where it's going to be like human crane game. So like someone could get in the claw,
right?
And then I'd be like the host, and we'd be streaming it. We'd have all different types of games, and we'd be using the claw in all different types of ways, and there'd be prizes and stuff that people could win. It was going to be really fun.
Sure.
So we booked this space that was like 30 by 40 square feet, which is pretty big.
Yeah. Like 10 by 12 meters, something like that.
I don't know what it is in meters. We're checking it 30 by 40 in meters. So yeah, and then I had a production team working on it, and we were trying to get sponsors for it, and we had like one sponsor who was down. Pari, shout out to them, sick. And then we were gonna get more, but it was really tough. Like sponsors just didn't want to sponsor anything TwitchCon. And it wasn't just because it was like ball pit physical related. It was just because like a lot of sponsors just didn't want to be a part of TwitchCon.
Right.
For whatever reason. And it was really tough. And then I was like, okay, well, I'm going to lose money, but that's fine because I think it's a really cool idea.
Sure.
But then the costs started getting like really, really, really like crazy, and got to the point where I would have lost like $200,000+, which is like so
average
ridiculous.
night in Vegas.
Yeah. So I threw it all in Vegas, basically. I put it all on red anyway. And so I was like, okay, well, I can't do this anymore. I got to pull the plug. Problem is I'd already like paid for certain things, like the booth space I had to lock down. And that was, I'd already paid for that. And I also wanted to do, I had to pay for some of the creative stuff that we'd already done. So I was already down quite a lot of money. And then I had the space that I had nothing to do with. And I was like, well, I should do something with it because I feel like I'm going to TwitchCon anyway. It would be really sad if there was just an empty square and I didn't do anything with it. And I was like, okay, well, the only thing I can think of that is literally 0 staff or like 1 staff member, or 2 at most. I'll just do r/place, but in real life. Like I'll just have 3 white walls and you can come draw on it. Because I thought, okay, it can't be that expensive to build fucking 3 walls. Turns out it is fucking expensive to build 3 walls at a convention. There's just so much like dumbass fees in these convention halls that they make you as an exhibitor sign up to, as we found out with Anime Expo. But as I found out even more so with this con, like, you know, when you have the booth, we didn't need a floor for any of it. It's just 3 walls. But you have to pay for carpet to be put down.
Okay.
And it's like $10,000 for a carpet to be put down. What? It's fucked. Okay. Yeah. It's like, what is this fucking like gold ass plated carpet? What is this? Why is it $10,000? It's because it's like union labor and other stuff.
Persian carpets.
It's ridiculous. It's so ridiculous. So like there's so many weird fees. And so I ended up building 3 white walls still cost me like $60,000. Which is
for 3
crazy,
white walls?
Which is crazy. But I was like, yeah, it's insane. And I was like, fuck it, let's just do it because I want to do something. And I don't care if I end up losing even more money on this now because I'm already so much money in the whole fuck it. I may as well just get something out of it.
Yeah.
This has got the same energy as like gamblers. Yeah. 90% of gamblers.
I'm already this far.
That also happened, God. I was like, fuck it, let's do this. Let's fucking build it. Like, I'll have something cool that I at least can walk away from and be like, I have something I can stream. I have some kind of content. And the initial sponsor, Pari, was still down to sponsor this. So I was like, okay, let's do this then. And so I was really grateful they did that because I helped kind of fund that and pay a bit of those costs. So we ended up, we were like, fuck it, let's do it. And it was going to be like so you're going to need visuals now, Mudan, sorry. It was going to be a square, but remove one of the walls. So you can enter through that wall and there'll be 3 walls.
So it's like boom, boom, boom.
Right, and it would have been really cool. But obviously, on the outside, there's only one way to come in, but I didn't care about that. I was like, fuck it. Like, it'll be cool. Just have 3 like walls surrounding you and it'll look great on the YouTube thumbnail. It'll be really cool. And then, so I sent off that design and they were like, cool, yeah, we'll get that built. So the day before TwitchCon, I go to the con, which is also, by the way, it was a fucking nightmare getting my badge at this con. They should do what AX did. I can't believe I'm giving credit to AX, but they mail out the badges beforehand.
Yeah.
Dude, it was like 4 hours for me to get my badge because everyone was useless. Nobody could help me. Apparently my badge had already been printed, which didn't make any sense. And then everyone just kept telling me to go to someone else. It was just such a mess. It was so bad. I've by far the worst badge pickup experience of any con I've ever had in my life. Please fix that next time. TwitchCon.
What a shocker.
Please, it's like partners, right? You're not printing off that many partner badges. Why can't you mail them? You know all the addresses of the partners because they have to put the address down for Twitch anyway. Why can't you just mail these badges off and just have them there? This feels like a no-brainer. And avoiding like a bunch of people and like fan meetups at the con. Like, it's just no-brainer. Anyway, so I go to the con the day before. And I'm trying to find my booth. I don't know where it is. So I'm looking around for like what is a very white looking booth. And I see like this thing and I see like what I think is my booth. So I asked this guy, because there's a few white panels on the floor, but nothing's been built yet. And I asked the guy, I'm like, hey, is this the Sea Dog booth? And he's like, yeah. I'm like, oh, cool. I was like, you're building like a square, right? Without one wall. He's like, no. I was like, what are you building? He's like, I'm building a plus. I was like, a plus? What do you mean you're building a plus? I was like, I never fucking signed off on a plus. The fuck is this? Because I'm thinking I only have one camera to time lapse this.
Yeah.
How the fuck am I going to, like, all 4 walls of the plus? How am I going to time lapse all of that? Sorry, I spat. So I'm like, Jesus Christ. I'm like, what the fuck? So I call up my agency. I'm like, hey, what the fuck's happening? Why are they building a plus? And so apparently what ended up happening was the middleman we were using just completely didn't forward the design. And then they just ended up going with just one they made up.
Okay.
And I was like, this is crazy. So they just started building this and there's nothing we could do because they didn't have any of the materials now to build what we needed to build. So I'm sitting there, day one, I get there, I'm already down 100 plus K on this idea. And then I get there and they can't even build a fucking square, a blank square. And I'm like, holy shit, this is cursed. Like, this is meant to be the biggest failure of all time. Like, why is this going so wrong? Like, I'm being punished for no damn reason. At least the blackjack tables will go great for me tonight, I hope. I'm being fucked in every way. And so I was so annoyed. Like, that Thursday, I was miserable because I was like, this is just going to suck. Like, this Like none of this has gone right. Like I'm down so much money with not even 3 blank walls to show for it. I got a fucking blank plus to show for it. A blank, who the fuck wants that?
Wait, so the blank plus, is it only one side of the wall could be drawn or could both?
It would have been 2 sides.
So you would have...
Two sides were branding for the merch and 2 sides were white. So I asked them, I was like, what can we do with the materials we have? What other shapes can we do? Because I want as much of this wall and less branding.
Yeah.
Because I want people to be able to draw. I think that was way cooler for people to be able to do. So we ended up kind of like, if you had the plus like this, we kind of turned it like this so that it was still secure. And then
So it's an X.
Well, yeah, it's an X.
like a really thin X.
It's a very, very, very thin X that was still stable, but had way more room to draw on.
Yeah.
And so you couldn't see any of the branding. So I don't know how much I paid for those prints to be branded, but I had to just scrap it because I was like, fuck it, I want the wall to be the focus. And it was just, it was really hard because I was just like, God damn it. Like, I've sunk so much time and money into this for it all to go horribly wrong. Even when I was like trying to get something out of it, it felt like I was being punished for something. I'm sure I'll find out what.
This sounds like the most engineering problem I've ever had in my life.
Insane, yeah.
It's just like, okay, I see you've sent the schematics for a square.
Yeah.
With a side.
It's crazy. It's crazy.
We can do this. This is simple.
It's crazy.
There is no possible way you can fuck this up.
There's no way you can fuck that up. It's so hard to fuck up building a square. I think I could have built the square. Give me the materials in half a day. I think I could have done it.
Should have just gone to the hardware store, just bought some drywall, and just done it yourself.
So, it ended up happening, and I was really kind of bummed out because I was like, "Fuck, this is just gonna go wrong." And then that night, we go Ludwig, and then we're like, let's go, we're in Vegas, let's go and gamble. By the way, I've been very harsh on gambling. I think that you should never gamble unless you're within the means to be able to do it, and you should only be losing whatever you feel comfortable doing. And I had an amount of dollars that I had in cash from previously visiting Vegas, and I was like, I'm only gonna use this, and if I lose this, I'm done. Like I'm not withdrawing any money. Luckily, I didn't do that at all Vegas, but the first night went horribly. I just kept losing, and I was like, this fucking sucks. Like, I'm just losing money and everything's going wrong.
Yeah.
This is awful. And so that day I was like, well, at least I'll get 8 hours of sleep. And then I went to bed and I couldn't sleep. So I got 3 hours of sleep that night and then had to go and...
It's like a Mr. Bean episode.
It was like
everything
went wrong. Yeah. And then I was miserable. And so I had to start the stream the next day. And I start the stream and my backpack just doesn't work. And I'm like, this is fucking huge. What have I done? Did I run over an orphan at some point? I don't recall this ever happening. What did I do to deserve this? Like, I feel like something is fucking with me. And so luckily, Gunrun, a good friend of mine, was an owner of VShojo. The CEO, I asked him for tech support. I was like, hey, can you help me? And so luckily, it was an hour late, and the con had already opened. The plan was to start the stream before the con opened.
Right.
And kind of show off the wall, and then as people slowly come in, I could kind of do it. But there was just a crowd of people waiting, and I was like, no, on the fucking wall. I gotta start the stream. I gotta show the blank wall. And we kept asking people to stop. Because people would just start walking in, pick up a pen, and everyone was like, no! And so an hour after the con opened, I finally got the fucking stream working. Yeah. And it was a really fun stream, but it was really tough because the lighting was so bad in the venue. You couldn't really see the drawings very well. So the first day I streamed for like 4 hours. It was really fun. And the wall itself was a great idea. I think it worked really well. It would have worked better if my initial concept was there, because that would have been a lot more fun and I could have kept track of it a lot more, because I had to keep bouncing between the sides. But it went really well. And it was a lot of fun. I think people really enjoyed it.
Worked out in the end.
It kind of, your definition of worked out would have to take everything into account. But I think for the thing itself, the idea was solid. Like, I think it was really fun. The only thing we had to keep doing, the day one, people wrote their names a lot. People were very uncreative. People would just write things. Yeah. Because they wanted to do something, and they'd put their Twitch name and be like, damn, that's not bad. And then I'd come in and be like, what the fuck is this? No one gives a fuck. And so I would just rub it out.
No self-promo.
Well, it was because people were just writing and there was not a lot of artwork happening. So what we ended up doing was every day we were going to do different types of like materials given, but we realized there wasn't that many drawings that we kind of just wanted to like just keep rubbing out and getting rid of the text.
How many dicks did you get?
Not that many.
About to ask that question.
You think a lot of people were very worried, and I knew that I knew that it wasn't going to be that bad. Like, I knew people weren't going to behave.
You should have just done like a thing where when someone came up with the pen, you should have just been like, no text.
Well, so we did end up writing a sign saying no, only artwork.
Yeah. Just draw something.
Yeah, and people did start doing it, and especially when I think it was because early on, I didn't stop people from doing it, and then when people see text, they feel more comfortable writing text.
Yeah.
But if they saw only artwork, I think people would be way more hesitant about just writing something.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so I think if I was to do it again, I would. And I think I'd like to do it again because I think it was a fun idea. Obviously, I don't need as big of a space. So I think I'd be up for doing something like that again. I think at something like TwitchCon, it kind of works because there's a lot of streamers came by and wrote stuff, which was really fun. Like, I think the idea was really solid. I just needed to clean up the execution and obviously have the cost be way less.
Yeah.
And have an actual
and have an actual
box.
and have a square.
We could have had half the space and utilized it so much better. And I would have saved, I think I could have done that booth for like 50K, had easily have gotten like one sponsor in a little bit, and that could have covered all of like the costs I would have incurred from doing it. And I think then it would have been a great success. And I think I definitely would be down for doing something like this again at TwitchCon. Because I think it was really fun when it was working really well. The signal wasn't the best. So day 2, I ended up begging Garnt. I was like, hey, Garnt, do you have that? Because Garnt has this phone set up for live streaming where you can just stream straight off the phone.
Oh, shit.
And it's really good because in low lighting, the traditional streamer setup is really bad, but the Samsung Galaxy phone is so good. And it looked so much better. And so day 2 and 3, we had a phone that looked a lot better. But I'd signed up to do this dumbass Twitch Rivals thing, which I shouldn't have signed up for, where it was basically a Apex Legends tournament.
You lost me.
Right, but imagine this, right? Imagine this.
Say less.
So they have the two team captains for the 5v5 basketball competition. Yeah. They got LeBron James on one team and they got Jimmy Kimmel on the other team. And that's basically how it was. And except in it's a battle royale and there's like 12 teams, all different basketball pros, and then me. And so it was awful. I didn't get to play. I literally didn't get to play for 4 hours. Right. I had to sit there and stream it. It was so bad.
Damn.
And the Rivals team are very nice. And then one of them did apologize to me. I was like, sorry about that. It was a bit of a wash. Yeah. I was like, don't worry about it. It's fine. It happens. I was very annoyed at the time, though. I was like, fuck, I shouldn't have done this. I knew this was going to happen because I'm not good at the game. And they made me a captain. And I was like, no, don't do this. Put me with some pro, please. So that ended up happening. And then I didn't get to stream the booth as much day 2, but day 3, it really came together and we had some amazing artwork in the end. And I got to do a really fun Twitch Rivals with Pete and Dima Dice and 5up. That was really fun. We got to do like party animal, some physical challenges. It was a really fun Twitch Rivals event, actually. That was much, much better than the other one, I think. Because it was all just like people who were just streamers who weren't good at any of these things in particular, who just kind of tried to do it. And we won the party animals.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, Pete popped off, even though he never played it.
What's party animals?
It's kind of like, do you know Gang Beasts at all? It's kind of like one of those games where it's like people just punching and it's all kind of ragdoll physics and you have to like hit each other off the stages.
Okay.
Oh, we got to play some Gang Beasts, bro. That game is so fun.
Party Animals is just better Gang Beasts.
Okay.
It's way
we can play
better
that. Hell yeah.
Okay.
And so, it ended up, it was pretty fun for like the work stuff, but I'd signed up to do way too much because I did the OTK schooled thing.
Oh, I saw that. Yeah.
Which I won.
Congratulations.
Genius. There was a darts moment when we had to do darts. Right. And obviously I'm pretty good at darts.
It's like, give me a beer.
And one of the questions, and I felt personally attacked by this, they were like, what is the best country to get a hair transplant in? Do you know the answer?
Wales?
No, it's Turkey.
Oh,
okay.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
So I was like, oh shit. No. Hit the dot, it was an atlas.
Yeah.
I hit Turkey like dead on.
Hell yeah. It's like, damn, he knew.
I was like, damn.
Easy points.
Because you do darts so much in Japan and in the UK. So I love doing darts and it was great.
Yeah.
Anyway, it was fun. But I signed up to do way too much. I was like, I was up from 8 and I would get back at 7 and then I'd immediately have to go for a dinner or hang out with people or, socialize because that's the main thing you do.
What a little social butterfly you are.
Well, yeah, you kind of have to. That's the whole point of going to the con is like socializing. So I had like a total of like 12 hours sleep across like 3 days. It was so bad. I was dying. Damn. I think if I were to do it again, I would sign up to like half the amount of stuff I did. It was a really fun con. I think it was a great time. But man, it's dangerous being in Vegas. So much gambling because there was the hotel that all the streamers were in.
Yeah.
And you would just walk down the hotel and just walk past the tables because they were right next to where everyone was walking.
Right.
So any people who are staying in this hotel could probably see all of their favorite streamers just gambling.
Yeah.
And you would walk down, always there would be a group of streamers gambling.
Of course there are. Of course there are.
You're in Vegas.
So yeah, it was interesting. Also, Vegas sucks so much. Spending 4 days in Vegas made me realize how much I don't like Vegas.
Yeah.
I think 2 days in Vegas was max, is what I would like to spend.
I was there for a year, bro.
Yeah, that's fucked. I think like
Cumulatively.
day one was kind of like exciting. You're like, man, we could do anything.
Yeah.
Day two, I was like, okay, it's kind of fun. I'm kind of getting bored of gambling. Saturday, which should be the hype day, I was like, okay,
gambling again.
Gambling again. But then everyone would be like,
gambling.
we're going to go to the club. I'm going to watch Diplo. I'm like, I don't fucking know who Diplo is. So I go to this club.
Didn't even know it was still around.
And then so I go to this club and I'm on a list. I don't know what fucking list I'm on. So I rock up to this thing at 2 a.m. I'm like, hey, I'm on the list. They're like, what list? I'm like, I name some names.
The list.
I name some names. And they're like, I need a table number. I'm like, oh, fucking table number. I don't know what that fucking is. So I'm calling Ludwig. I'm like, Ludwig, can you, what the fuck am I on? He's like, I'll just come get you. So he comes out and gets me. I go in and I immediately like walk into this club. It's so loud. Obviously, it's a club. I know it's loud.
Yeah.
But like the floor is so sticky where it's like I'm walking like this.
Oh, you're
And I'm
giving me some core memories now.
I'm far too sober because I've had like 3 beers where I need to be like 8, 9 beers in for this environment. And Lud's living his best life. He's dancing. He's having a great time. And I'm like, I'm too sober. I can't do it. And it's 2 a.m. and I don't want to commit. I don't want to get drunk. It's 2 a.m.
Yeah.
I got to be up in 6 hours.
Yeah.
You're like, quick, someone, give me a molly.
No,
I'm gonna pop a molly. I'm gonna pop a molly right now.
I'm like,
it's 2 a.m.
I sit around for like 30 minutes, say hi to some people, and I'm like, hi guys, I'm going to bed.
Yeah.
And Lud's like, okay. And then
You like
choice.
this story has just reminded me of like about why I stopped going clubbing.
This story reminded me of why I don't ever go to clubs.
I just, man, I hate this whole like kind of, this kind of dance that happens when you're trying to get into a club. And I'm sure if you've ever tried to get into a club, you know it.
Yeah.
Where everyone's like, who's on a list? Who's down?
It's a hierarchy. You know, you're just like, can I feel self-indulgent today? Can I feel self-important?
Am I part of the cool kids?
Yeah.
Am I part of the cool kids?
You know what I don't miss? Dealing with bouncers.
Oh,
you know?
fucking hate bouncers, man. They're such dicks. And I just don't care for it. I like, if they want to be like, if they want to just be a cunt, I'm like, all right, well, I'm just going to
because they're just power tripping, right?
Yeah, I'm like, these guys, this is their like one moment where they get to feel like the arbiter of who is cool and not. And I'm like, I don't care
the
about
dungeon
this.
master.
I'd rather just go home and just watch League of Legends. I don't care enough about doing this. Dude, this is so lame. So yeah, I did that. And then the next day it was like this Razor Dolce & Gabbana party. And
what?
Yeah, it was just in a club. It was so
Okay.
fucking. And so we
It sounds pretentious as fuck.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. So we get into this club and I'm on some list. I don't know what list I'm on.
You're always on a list.
Some list.
I'm always on a list for these streamer things, right? Because
Hopefully some good lists.
Well, what ends up happening is that I've realized this after going to LA a bunch. After you reach like a certain level of clout, you can just be like, ask someone, you're like, hey, can I be on the list? And they'll put you on the list.
Yeah.
It just sounds like LA in general.
Yeah. But like, I remember that like, if I wanted to do this prior, I'd have to like, if I wanted to hang out with people, I'd have to really like, I'd feel like a burden asking. But now I was like, okay, they're like, do you want to come to this party? I was like, I don't know. Can you just put me down? If I feel like it, I'll turn up.
Yeah.
And so I was on a list or whatever, but then I ended up going in with someone else who was on the list. Which is, I hate all this shit. I hate this so much, by the way.
Capital T, the list.
And so we do this like John Wick escort mission where we go up the club, through the back doors, through like the workers' entrance.
The kitchen?
Yeah. Through genuinely, down an elevator, below the club, through the kitchen.
Goodfellas right here.
3 elevators. 3 elevators to get to this club.
Okay.
1 down, going past a bunch of laundry workers, go up again, through the kitchen, go up one final club. We get in the special area of the club, which is just behind the DJ, right?
Yeah.
And so, and I remember because I was with, we got in, it was like me, Ludwig, Germa, and RT Games, and we were all there, and we all get in, and it's so shit. We get in this club, and you feel like you're in a zoo. because everyone gets to see who's in the zone,
right?
Who's in the VIP area.
It's behind the DJ, right?
Yeah, and everyone's kind of like elevated, and you're just kind of on this podium behind the DJ. Right. And I hate this so much because I'm like, I don't want people, because people do this, and I think that like, I feel like your existence is so sad if this is what you must do. They stand at like the entrance to the VIP and they're just like looking at people, waiting for someone to like let them in.
Right.
And I guess at some point like the bouncer like left, so people were just walking in. And so they were like, people who were like fans of the streamers started interacting. It started to get really weird. And there was no drinks that were available to the people in the VIPs. You had to go to the bar, bring it back, and it was just a whole slog, and I just couldn't be bothered.
That sounds like the worst VIP section I've ever heard.
Well, yeah, but it was sponsored, so I thought it would be like free drinks for like because you want the streamers to show up.
Yeah,
yeah. Anyway, I have a drink, and I'm sitting there talking to Jerma, and then at one point during this one song, this is like, we've been in the club for 30 minutes, by the way, right now, and I hate this already. I don't like this because it's just too loud. You can't talk to anyone.
Yeah.
I hate this, and this fucking massive cannon goes off. Like, I don't know what it is. Like a cold cannon. I don't know what these things are at clubs. Anyone could tell me. Right. Do you know what these are, Kai? Do you go to clubs? This is this cannon that shoots out smoke. Not smoke, like cold air.
Yeah, I know what you're talking
You know the thing?
Yeah.
And it's so loud.
The one that comes in like during the drop.
DJ,
it's like,
put
the fucking hands up. Boom!
Yeah, and it shoots cold air all over this section. And it is impeccably loud. Yeah. It is like thunderous. It is so impressively loud that it literally like shocks me and a few other people I'm with. We're like, what the fuck? Yeah. And like so loud that you're like covering your ears because it's fucked.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, I don't like this. And they're all like, yeah, we hate this. I'm like, should we just go? This fucking sucks. And we're like, yeah, let's just go. So we just leave right away after 30 minjust
Yeah.
And I feel like, man, I spent 30 minutes getting in and I just hated it. And I was like, I'm just going to leave right away.
Oh my God. That just sounds like the clubbing experience.
It was pretty shit. I just don't think I enjoy clubs remotely.
Clubs suck, man.
I think there's never an occasion where I get excited to go to one.
No. The only times clubs are good, in my opinion, is when you don't plan for the nights. Is when when
it can be like kind of a fun little offbeat thing.
Yeah. I actually think the last time I went clubbing was with you, Connor.
Which club did we go to?
Huh?
Which club did we go to?
I can't remember. It was like some club in...
You're never sober enough to remember going.
No, that's the point. That's
well, that's all. Anytime the club is fun.
Yeah, it's one where you like get a bit too tipsy with your mates and you're like, I know this sounds like a horrible idea because we're all fucking drunk. But clubbing.
Clubbing always starts with the pretense of someone just saying, fuck it.
The problem is that clubs get like way too busy at a certain point, and that's when even when I'm drunk, I don't really enjoy it because I'm kind of like, there's no space to like, even if I wanted to dance, I can't really dance because I'm shoulder to shoulder with someone. Yeah. And I don't know if it's the pandemic that did that to me. I just don't want to be in that situation ever now, flat out. Like I can be completely drunk and I just don't want to be there. So I'm like, I just don't ever want to be in a situation where I feel like I'm not in control of my own space. Yeah,
sure.
And so that was what all the clubs were like because everyone in like Twitchcon was trying to get into these damn clubs. And I just, wasn't much of a fan of it.
Yeah, I do not regret not going to TwitchCon. I thought that would be like the kind of like vibe and experience.
Yeah. But that was like Saturday and Sunday. Yeah. I mean, the most fun nights are when we just got to hang out and just maybe the gambling.
That's just the
fun,
vibe that I like. You know, I just like hanging out and chilling and talking and it's gonna make me sound so old, but just not being in super loud places.
Yeah, I didn't dig it. I did not fuck with it.
Like for me, every time I've been clubbing, it's always a sense of it's too loud to talk to people, but what I want to do is talk to people. Yeah. Because unless I'm really, really fucking drunk, I ain't going to want to dance.
I'd rather just hang out at someone's house. Flat out.
Like, Like, just house parties are goated,
House parties are goated. House parties are so chill.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah, not a fan of that. So I don't think I think I just got to stop admitting. Because I kept trying to go to the club being like, maybe I'll like it. But I just don't. I just don't like it. I hate it.
And the thing is, it's not even just a normal club. It's a club in fucking Vegas.
Oh. Dude, do you know how much like a bottle costs? It was like $1,500.
What?
Insane numbers. I could be blackout drunk and I wouldn't pay that.
Yeah.
You couldn't.
Hell
there's no
no.
way you could get me to pop.
Hell no.
Insane amount for an alcoholic beverage.
Yeah.
Because you couldn't. I think you could order separate drinks, but you had to go to the bar. But if you wanted to bring the alcohol to the table and have them like make drinks for you, it's like, yeah, that much.
No, that's not including the tip either.
Oh no, that's not. That's not. That's expensive.
Jesus Christ. So overall, the whole experience out of 10?
TwitchCon? The con itself was, there wasn't a lot to do. It's kind of hard to give it. There's so many aspects of it where I would rate differently. Like one issue I have with the con itself as TwitchCon is that because they need so many sponsors for it to be profitable, it's just like one big ad. And I feel like it's literally just ads.
Man discovers capitalism.
I know, but like, I like AX, I feel like they have, like, there's a lot of really, almost all of the brands feel in like they belong at an anime expo. Like I have a ton of criticism. We all have tons of criticism.
Oh, so this one just kind of felt like they're all shoehorned in.
There's Chevron, AT&T, the military. It's just like a bunch of
military?
Yeah, my booth was opposite the Navy booth. They were really chill. They were super. Shout out to the Navy. They gave us tools to use on our booth because otherwise we would have had to pay to borrow them from the union labor.
Oh my God.
And the Navy was super chill, and some of them came up to me like, hey, I love your stuff.
Oh, hell yeah.
You want to like hang out with us? Yeah. We got like a booth over there. So I almost signed up. I was like, I'm British. I can enlist. No, they were super chill. They were really nice, actually. They were a good bunch. I think that they had some space where they had this whole giant area where it was just PC setups where you could just play games or stream. Yeah. And I think it's a cool idea, but I think why they have so many streamers. Why do you not have some space that you can go to streamers and be like, hey, is there some cool thing you want to try and like a booth you want to make at TwitchCon that we could make, that we can advertise and use that as a pull? Like, I think it's missing so much, like just creator involvement outside of meet and greets and shows. They have some shows which are great and Twitch Rivals which are great, but it's nothing the viewers can get involved with. And I think that doing a meet and greet they have so much room for meet and greets. And I think that a meet and greet from a fan perspective is the worst way that you can spend your time to meet a creator, because you line up for an hour, maybe 30 minutes if you're lucky. You meet your creator, and if they're a big creator, you probably will get 20, 30 seconds to talk to them. Yeah. And I feel like that's not a good experience. Like, you don't get a lot out of that as a viewer, and also the creator cannot get to meaningfully have a conversation with you. Whereas I think if you do a booth that's more interactive, and the whole thing is that you're going to be there all day, you're streaming, maybe you're doing something cool, you can have more meaningful interactions with viewers in a way that I think is way more fulfilling, and also way better from the creator side. Right. Because you're not just going through this mill of viewers just saying, hi, how are you? How's TwitchCon? Picture. Hi, have a nice day. I think there's a way better way of utilizing the space at TwitchCon to kind of allow creators to make creative things. I mean, that's what I was trying to do. But the problem is that from a creator standpoint, I don't have the money that Chevron has to blow. Like, Doritos had like a double my space. They can just burn money because they're Doritos. I can't. Like, I can't compete with that. Like, but it feels like Twitch should kind of be like, hey, we have the space. Are there any creators that want to use this to kind of do something cool? And I think that that's just such a no-brainer from their perspective, because it's not like Anime Expo where anime is the product in these anime companies, because they're coming up and they're doing these things, and it makes a lot of sense. But like, streamers are your product. Why are you not giving them a space to show off? Why are you not allowing them to kind of show off some creativity and like have a presence there where they can also then have maybe the people from Chevron will go and talk to them and be like, hey, let's work together. We see your booth, it's cool. Like, it feels like TwitchCon it just is not utilizing streamers at all. Like, it feels like they're not thinking about how they can use some of the space, because they had plenty. There was a ton of space being wasted at that con.
I think the thing is, I don't even know what happens at TwitchCon.
I think if there was more streamers who had booths, who were streaming or doing these cool events, you would see more stuff.
I mean, for me, always my public perception of TwitchCon is just like, oh, this is like party weekend for streamers, but they get to gather in one building.
And, my idea for it was, this is just VidCon for streamers.
Yeah. Basically just that, right?
It's kind of like, basically. But I mean, VidCon's for like 8-year-olds. VidCon also sucks. I think TwitchCon has something, and I really don't want them to keep doing what they're doing, because I feel like people are just going to get bored, because there's nothing to do at that con. There's not a lot to do.
Like no interactivity whatsoever.
There's like a few things you can do. The artist alley is way too small. You could double the size of the artist alley, because I think that's the highlight for a lot of people. Is seeing all these cool things that like from independent artists that they can purchase. And I just think there wasn't like enough interactivity for people to do things. They had a cool arcade section, which was nice, but again, that's like a small little thing. I think you have a product that is streamers. Give them a space to do something. I think it also kind of sucks from my perspective, where I'm trying to do something cool at TwitchCon and I have to pay an arm and a leg. And to be fair, TwitchCon did give me a little bit of a discount, but it's like
it was not enough.
It's a and they did what they could, but if there was like some kind of framework they could do where they could kind of give out these spaces and have some kind of pre-built thing that was, I think there's something that they could do that would really incentivize streamers to get involved. And also it would be way easier for brands to get involved with those streamers there, because
that's a win for everyone.
Yeah. I think it feels like a no-brainer, but I don't know why they're not doing it.
I think there's more conventions in general need to do that as well. Like not just TwitchCon, like get them more involved and get people who are going to them more involved, so that there's actually a reason to go other than, I met my favorite content creator for 30 seconds. I just feel like cons really aren't in general going in the right direction for that kind of longevity.
I mean, there's a lot of cons I've heard that are really fun to just go to. I know that John always talks about MagFest and that kind of stuff, being a great vibe.
Oh dude, the South Africa con I went to was one of the best cons I've been to, just because there was so much cool shit to do there. But like not a lot of cons, and in fact most cons, 90% of cons I've been to just don't have that. Yeah, it just feels like such a waste. Yeah. Especially when the only thing you have as Twitch is the streamer. Yeah.
Let them do something. It's
totally.
it's just frustrating from someone who wants to do more creative things. But
that's the thing though. Like I feel not everybody on Twitch has that mentality that you have, right? Like a lot of them just kind of want to lay low and just like the meet and greet is all they can do, or all they can handle.
Yeah, and I think the meet and greets are great, but they had such a massive area for it, and I was like, you don't need this much space.
Right.
Well, it's just a statement, right? I think on Twitch's part, they're just like, look at what we fucking got, you know?
Yeah, and I think there was a lot of meet and greets, but again, I think that like you can do, which is why I think we started doing more shows as opposed to doing meet and greets, because in Trash Taste we felt that like a show is a better experience for a viewer than a 30-second meet and greet.
No, totally.
Like, come to our show, come watch us live, have this enclosed experience with other fans, where it's great energy and you get a show. Like I think that's so much better than doing a meet and greet, because a lot of the time the meet and greets, like I said, you get 20 seconds to interact with your streamer or your content creator, and that's it.
Yeah. Unfortunately, a show takes a lot of effort and energy and planning. And
but the end result is always a million times more work.
The thing is that it's easy to like, I think, there are a lot of creators that don't want to do that, but there are just as many creators that if you give them the option, they will go for it.
Right.
And they'll try and be creative. They'll try and push it. They'll try and do things. But without the option, it's never going to happen. And right now, the money it's far too expensive to do anything at something like a TwitchCon. As I've learned, that it would be very hard for me, who is like one of the biggest streamers on Twitch, to justify doing anything. So it's like, okay, well, this rules out like 99.9% of streamers doing anything ever at TwitchCon. Like this is, it feels like a shame.
That's some improvement that they can like
hopefully
do
someone
in
from
the
Twitch
future.
Hopefully.
Maybe I'll go to TwitchCon next year. Who knows?
I'm not.
Top Genshin streamer, come on. They need you.
I need it.
The Genshin did have a booth, actually.
I know.
You could have been there, Garnt.
I got invited to their Twitch rivals. I'm going to that, but I was
What?
I was actually invited to go on the Genshin Twitch rivals.
Number one Genshin streamer.
You been up to anything?
Nope.
The only thing Jerry's been up to is shaving.
I had to shave because I had a Halloween party last week where I invited a couple of my friends. We do it every year at our house. Obviously, we cosplay or costumes or whatever. Aki and I were Shaggy and Scooby-Doo this year.
I saw.
So Aki had the full-on onesie, and I fully committed to the Shaggy bit. I shaved everything except for the goatee here. It was fucking disgusting. I look like if Fred Durst had a baby with the lead singer of Smash Mouth. It looked fucking gross.
Was it worth it?
Yeah.
Fun time?
Yeah, it was really fun.
Nice.
It's always good fun.
Yeah.
I don't know what happened in Shibuya.
I heard they
I did see the massive signs though.
Yeah,
when I went.
saying fuck off.
Yeah, they're saying like we will do some bad things if you do bad things.
Yeah, Shibuya did this Giga Brain move where they were like, we're gonna tell people that they can't drink alcohol, but there's no punishment if they drink alcohol. And then they started boarding up stations to stop people from meeting up, but it just made it more congested.
Yeah.
So it made it more dangerous.
Yeah, which is the most Japanese move I've ever seen in my life. They're like, let's fix a problem. Oh, we just made it worse.
I think there's just such a disconnect between like older people in Japan and the Japanese government, and like just allowing younger people to express themselves. And like I think getting drunk and all crazy in Tokyo is not great or the best way to do it. But I feel like just clamping down on it and trying to get rid of it entirely is not the move here.
No.
And I think obviously there was some bad apples in it, but I think generally it all went okay, except people when they were trying to flip cars over.
Yeah.
But like, I don't think
it was like evacuate all the trucks, get them out of here.
Like they've been, because a lot of people were saying that it was because of the Korean the disaster.
Korean disaster that happened.
But they've been trying to do this for years now. They've been trying to get rid of it.
Yeah.
And this is the year where they really try to do stuff. But this weird kind of rule where you can't drink, but they're not going to do anything. They'll just have a man come around and shout at you, but he can't do anything.
Well, we're actually filming this on the 31st of October, so it's going to be interesting to see what happens in the next couple of hours.
It's just, dude, I feel like they've just gone about it the most Japanese way possible, and that is the worst way possible. Like, I feel like they could have done this in a few better ways, but like having no laws passed and just asking people not to drink is just never going to work.
Stop having fun.
Yeah.
Just no fun allowed in the city.
And
am I right?
I spoke to a lot of foreign people who just seem to not care, which I think is just going to make all this, a lot of the foreign Japanese relations that have been bad already recently.
The foreign Japanese relations.
It's just making it even worse. Whenever I see the Japanese news videos popping up and because Japanese news loves doing this. They love finding a foreigner drinking alcohol around there and being like, look at them not following the rules we set.
That's the root of the problem.
And then all the comments are like, wow. You auto-translate in Japanese like, wow, classic foreigners can't follow rules here. And it's like, Jesus Christ.
It's like, no, we can follow rules. We follow rules that make sense to follow. You know?
Yeah, and I also think that just having a news crew only show some foreign people who are like it's fucking just foreign people who are doing this. Japanese people are also doing this.
Never mind the fact that those 4 dudes who flipped the truck last year were all Japanese.
They were all Japanese. So it's such bullshit they do this, and it's very frustrating sometimes because they know that this does well and it gets engagement on the Japanese news sites if they purposely blame
frothing at the mouth.
It's so frustrating because then when these cases that come along earlier, like the ones where the actual foreigner is a piece of shit, it makes them feel like they are right.
Yeah,
for this,
we told you
this
so.
prejudice they have. Which, it's frustrating.
So we'll see what happens in the next couple of hours. Shibuya might be mega quiet, or there could be about 7 trucks flipped over.
I think it's going to be bad.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be because they've boarded off way too much, and they've made Shibuya Station actually like more dangerous to get around now.
Yeah.
Because they boarded off
as if it wasn't already fucking dangerous.
It's so bad. I don't know why it's such a dumb idea what they did.
Yeah. Is it just me, or has the want to come to visit Japan just like increased as like
massively,
in the past few years? Like, what do you think is the catalyst for that? Because I felt like there was interest before.
It's a little podcast called Trash.
I genuinely think that like what we're doing and a bunch of other TikToks and all stuff, just showing Japan off all the time, has made it so much more enticing.
It's all the free advertisement of Japan by foreigners who come to Japan.
You cannot go 5 minutes on TikTok without getting recommended a Japanese food video. It's not possible. It's not possible.
Do you think that's because we're in Japan, so we're getting recommended? Because I can never tell. Because it is
tough.
It's so hard to tell. Because like, have you ever like logged into YouTube with a completely fresh account or like incognito mode, and you're like, I do not recognize any of these people, and they have like 26 million views.
I would say we probably are getting recommended them more because we are inclined to watch that. But a lot of these TikToks have 2 to 5 million views, and that can't just be the expat population of Japan.
That's more than the expat population of Japan.
Yeah, and it's weird because like I made some shorts just for YouTube. Yeah, and I did one where there was this is a store called Onigiri Bongo. I don't know if you've heard of it. It's this onigiri place where people line up 5 hours for.
Oh yes, I've heard.
It's fucking ridiculous. Yeah. People line up to 5 hours. It's normally a 2 hour wait. I found out when I was looking at their website that you could just call up. Obviously, you have to do it in Japanese, but you could call up and just say like, "Oh, yoyaku dekimasu ka?" And you could reserve
a spot in the line.
No. You could do yaku mochikairi dekimasu ka? And they're like, oh, hi, I saw this ne? And then you just say like, tomorrow, 11 a.m. Can I have this? And they're like, yeah. So I just saw on their website it said that you could call up and reserve to go. And I was thinking, well, onigiri is probably the most to-go food of all time.
Well, you don't sit down for it.
It is a strictly to-go food. Yeah. So I was like, oh, okay, well, easy. So I was like, there's no way it's this easy. So I call up. I say, hey, can I come pick it up tomorrow at 11 o'clock? And they were like, yeah. So I order it. I go in. And I felt like I was doing something wrong. There's this long line.
Probably like, look at this foreigner cutting the line.
No, dude. So there's a line of like 60 people,
Right.
All Japanese.
Yeah.
And I go up and I'm like, I don't know where to go because my first time coming here. I'm looking around. I'm like, I think I just go right to the front.
Yeah.
And as I'm going in, this guy goes, and I was like, oh, mochikairi arimasu. And he's like, oh, like a guy in the line.
Yeah.
Was just gonna like tell me I was cutting. And so, because I saw someone else just do it right as I was about to do it. So I was like, oh, okay. Go up. I just say my name. They give me my rice balls. And I was like, oh, shit. That took 10 seconds.
I've hacked the system.
Yeah. And I was like, why is everyone waiting 5 hours in line? So I made the TikTok being like, this is, why the fuck are people waiting 5 hours when you can just do an advance?
Because that kind of information is not available on Yahoo.
That's true. Yeah. But then.
Which is what they're probably using.
But then I started getting these comments from people who are like, classic fucking foreign tourist, doesn't want to wait in line, makes the Japanese people wait longer. And I was like,
no, they're doing it to them fucking selves.
I was like, what the fuck? Bro, these people
Little
are
do
insane.
these comments know. Japanese people
they love a line.
Love waiting in
They
line.
love a line.
It's like a fucking pastime for them.
I thought the British loved a queue, but man, the Japanese
no.
And so, yeah, and I got like a bunch of weird ones where they were like, there's just a bunch of people who are these very weird people who are, I guess, obsessed with Japan, who come out of the woodwork occasionally and just want to slant on you for doing anything even remotely differently.
Meanwhile, you look into them and it's like Nigel from Arkansas, who's never left his country before and has just read a lot of shit about Japan. I'm like, stop.
Well, a lot of people, my Japanese is not fluent at all. I'm like baby conversation level. But
you're a bit better than that.
Oh, I appreciate that. But the amount of doors that open up, that I realized that when, one, I wasn't afraid of talking on the phone and sound like an idiot and being able to like book things, it opened up so many doors.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Absolutely.
And being able to do that and confidently like call them up, because I'm like, this kind of conversation I'm pretty sure I can handle.
Yeah.
Because I was like, I'm going to ask, can I reserve? They're going to say yes, when? I'm going to tell them the time, and they're going to be like, all right, what do you want? So that's how it went.
Yeah.
And I nailed it, and I went and got it, and it was great. It was so delicious. I wouldn't wait 5 hours, but it is by far the best onigiri I've ever had.
Oh, really?
If I was planning a big day trip,
now you've like unloaded the secret, and everyone's gonna be phoning up for fucking.
Now there's gonna be a line for reservations.
Because I think they make it either the morning of before they open, or like maybe later in the night. But either way, it was amazing. Like it was really good, and it was these things are fucking huge.
Yeah,
they're like twice the size of normal onigiri. And I ate 3, and I was dying. But it was so good.
Like a kilo of rice.
So yeah, if you do go. And you got like a day trip planned. There's like 7 or 8 of you guys. Just go and pick up a bunch.
Sweet.
Great.
All right.
Well, there you go. There's a recommendation for you guys, and we'll leave it at that. Hey, look at all these patrons, though.
Shout out to those guys.
Hey, make sure when you come to Japan, be respectful, follow the rules, and you won't get a fucking NHK article written about you. Yeah, don't film crimes.
Can we just stop filming our crimes?
We should just stop filming crimes. Yeah.
Like that might be the hottest take we've ever seen on Trash Taste.
If you fuck around, you find out, all right? So don't do that.
I think, at least, especially like if you're going to film crimes, at least don't be cringe while you're doing it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
At least be cool, don't
Can
make a
we just film cool crimes?
Just cool crimes, But no, don't do that. But hey, you know what you can do is going over to patreon.com/trashtaste to support the show. Also,
huge.
Huge. Also, you can go over to Twitter to send us your memes, subreddit as well. We have that. And if you hate our face, listen to us on Spotify. And we will update you guys on the Shibuya Halloween fiasco probably next episode.
All right, see you guys.
We'll see.
Or no, we'll see. All right, bye guys.
Bye.